Still of lava, welcome to Thebrology Reacts, and today we're going to react to Stephen Setu, who people would label as a controversial figure. I think for me, he is a person in the Pacifica community that's leading the way and be able to express your opinion freely, and he does it really well. And for the 2 months I've been on TikTok, Stephen Setu was probably the first person I encountered there, and his content and just his masterful way that he can place a message, whether you like it or whether you hate it, you know you're going to listen to it. So he appears on the Mandate New Zealand podcast, so shout out to the team at Mandate, and we're just going to react to some of his views on faith. Let's have a look.
Need to go back to the gospel. I know people probably watch this and say, hey, this guy's talking about the gospel, but he's swearing. I'll just say, look at my heart, because God looks at your heart. He doesn't look at what you do. I would argue and say murder is bad, but then why is David versus Goliath one of the most praised stories ever? Because it wasn't the murder that was bad. God saw his intention. So I might be swearing, but see my heart, see my intention.
Yeah.
Now, Stephen raises a good point. So is there such a thing as righteous cussing? Now, look, I'm not a person that naturally cusses. I probably cuss a lot, you know, when I'm dropping the ball, making a forward pass on the touch field, or getting a heated argument at home. But apart from that, I don't cuss as much. I know for Stephen it's a bit different, and for some others. But when we hear cussing, you know, in a theological context, you know, we're quick to dismiss it because it's cussing, and would say cussing is a sin, and it is to an effect. But would you say in this scenario there would be what's called righteous cussing? So the analogy I'm going to use in scripture is when Jesus gets angry and he turns the tables over in the temple. You know, people would say anger is a sin, but if it's done in an appropriate manner, then there's, you know, an appropriate anger that needs to take place. And anger is not always a sin at all times. So can we add that on to cussing? Does cussing always have to be sinful? You know, if it has a purpose, if there's impact to it, you know, does that alter, you know, what the gospel is trying to proclaim here? I'm not saying let's go start cussing at liturgy and at mass. That's not going to work. But, you know, if you're having a presentation and, you know, you're trying to be as honest as you can. And I've been to some talks where, you know, presenters have used maybe one cuss word in the whole presentation that they used. So is there such thing as righteous cussing? Let me know what you think.
My intention is saying it's the gospel, right? The Western countries, they claim they're Christian countries. They have God defend New Zealand, God defend America in their anthem. Where's the godliness? So we have strayed away from a godly foundation. And it says in the scripture, when you build your house on sand, it's going to fade. And that's what it is with the Western world. You can walk with a t-shirt that says, I hate Jesus Christ down the road, and no one would do anything. You try to walk around with a I hate Prophet Muhammad shirt down Saudi Arabia and see how far you'd get.
So love Stephen's point here. He makes sense. You know, obviously we started off as in New Zealand and Australia and parts of the Western world. We started with Judeo-Christian values. Obviously that started the Constitution. That's how we got the laws introduced here. And somewhere along the line, you know, in the last 50 years with the rise of secularization, you know, I guess is what Stephen's saying is, you know, we sing God Defend New Zealand, but, you know, we're just Christian in name and because it's part of our origin, but it doesn't play any role in our society or it doesn't have much of an impact, you know, as it did back then. So, you know, there's a double standard now. So if someone wears, you know, I hate Jesus Christ shirt, everyone would probably just laugh or make fun of them. I'd add Stephen's point and I'd say if you wore I hate Muhammad shirt, you know, down, you know, it doesn't even have to be Saudi Arabia. It can be in Sydney and Auckland. Yo, man, you know, you see what happens. It's not going to be good. Now, we live in this pluralistic society, you know, and Charles Taylor talks about it in a secular age, you know, where the people in your neighborhood, they're going to have different beliefs, they're going to have different values, they might come from different societies. But the trouble that we have in our society today is that, you know, one group is prioritized over another. So, what I'm saying here. So, we believe in equality and, everyone should get along, with one another, but why can't Israel Folau express his point, about his faith? Even if people disagree with it, why can't he express it? Or, why can't the Manly players, refuse what was put before them? Like, why do they have to have repercussions, while they're playing? Why does Stephen, when he puts content out on social media, why is this account being deactivated? So, we have Christian values, we live in a pluralistic society, but for some reason there's some double standard that needs to be addressed. Awesome. I hope you enjoyed that content. I would love to hear your views on this. If you have anyone else that we can react to, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.